I did different kinds of sadhana, many different kinds of sadhana. I sat on the snow with a bare butt and did my meditation. And I meditated in glacial lakes surrounded by ice, getting down in the ice and chanting the chandi with my arms above my head. I sat under the Hatimuk, which is in Bokreshwar there were very, very, very hot springs, and the government of India came and they made little canals for the water to come into bathing tanks, and then the water would come out, and they sculpted the mouth of an elephant, and that was the hottest water as it came out into the spring to fill up the tank. And I used to read the entire chandi there. I lived in very, very remote villages, and I lived under trees, and I did beyond hot, beyond cold, beyond hunger. I did all of those kinds of sadhana, mostly with the chandi, but also studying other scriptures. And as time passed on, I became more civilized, and I started doing pujas with groups of villagers, and then I started doing pujas with Srima and groups of city people, and then we moved to auditoriums, etc., etc. So Trailinga Swami is a major influence in the tradition of our lineage, insofar as he inspires Tapasya just by the example of his life. He had no teaching. All he did was Tapasya, sadhana, and then what we have left, other than the sadhana, the Tapasya, are the miracles that happened around him. And his life was a living miracle. Even today, you walk down the bank of the Ganga, and his presence is there. You feel, even today, after all the changes and all the modifications, all the construction, and all the palaces and the major humongous temples that have been built there, Trailinga Swami's bhavana, his feeling, his attitude, his presence is well known. Of course, I was in the cremation grounds for many years. I did Sahasra Chandi in many, many locations, and I lived a life without anything but God. I really did. I mean, that was just my life, and there was just God. And there was my sadhana, and I was busy in sadhana from morning till night. For many, many years. I would get up early in the morning, I'd bathe in a hot spring, I would come back, I would do a hatha yoga. I was quite a yogi in my days. I used to touch my toes. Now I can't even see them. But I did hatha yoga, and I came back, and I would get my worship organized. I would do the cosmic puja. I would get up from the puja and take a little walk around my compound, and then sit down and do the chandi. And I used to do an 8-hour or 9-hour chandi in one asan. Regularly, I mean, for thousands of days together, in Bokreshwar, in Jageshwar, in Rishikesh, in Martinez, and twice in Napa. That's 6 times 3 years, that's 18 years I spent morning to night with nothing to do except sadhana. And the most important thing in my life was, how do I worship God? And that comes from the lineage of Trailinga Swami. And then in the night, when I finished the last mantras, and I did the arati, and I put all the gods to bed, then I translated. And I would translate most of the night, so that if I got more than 4 hours of sleep in a 24-hour period, I was wasting time. And that came from Trailinga Swami. And that's how he came into our heritage as such a prominent influence. And for me, I felt it to be a very, very, very positive influence. So he got big as I did, and just from sitting around, and I didn't get as big as he is, but I'm a little sadhu. And I've got another 150 or 200 years more to do before I catch up with him.